Everybody, it's Sherry from Religion Actually. I'm back to recap Sunday night's Bravo shows, Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. Now, I know last week I did tell you all that it may be my last time recapping Real Housewives of Potomac, and I also told you why. And for those that didn't listen last week, I will give you my reasons really quick. However, I am going to recap Real Housewives of Potomac. My reasons were I did not really enjoy the fact that we had two beautiful Nigerian queens going at it, and that seemed to be one of the major storylines of the season. I did not like the sidebar conversations from the women that don't even know what they're talking about. That is a cultural thing. Again, I stated that I just feel like there's so much more we could gain from these two beautiful women. One having a doctorate, one being an attorney, two really handsome husbands, doing really well in life. I just not a fan of where their storyline is going this season. But I do know that there's a little bit more background information to it, and we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, we are going to get into Married to Medicine, which I have some other things to talk about concerning that show as well. So we're going to go ahead and get on into it. So Real Housewives of Potomac last night takes place right back still in Austin, Texas. Just like all the franchises do, the ladies always take a girls trip somewhere. And for this season, the ladies have chosen Austin, Texas, which is being headed off by Miss Ashley Darby. So the ladies are there, all have been accounted for and have been room assigned. The two presidential suites are Ashley and Robyn, which we come to find out that Ashley has gifted Robyn with the other presidential suite because of the things that Robyn has been going through with Juan that she doesn't seem to care about. Remember? Anyway, we open up, sadly, right back at that pool where we left off last week, where Nneka and Wendy were just going at it. They went back and forth with the fact of how, in fact, they know each other. It is Nneka that is trying to make the ladies understand and also get Dr. Wendy to admit that she knows Nneka's cousin-in-law, Lebe. And Lebe was in attendance to her daughter's party. There's footage where the producers go back to last season where they actually do, in fact, show that Lebe was in attendance and was given a shout out by Dr. Wendy. So, in fact, it is clear that Dr. Wendy does at least know of Lebe and enough to acknowledge her. So there's that. The exchange gets heated. Even in the midst of that, Dr. Wendy calls Nneka, "Hi, are you a crackhead?" As if that was not just a throw out there insult. Nneka takes that to heart, and they continue to go back and forth. Child, I can go on and on that scene, but let's just say that it ends with Karen trying to diffuse the situation as the ladies get ready to wrap up the pool scene. And she, wants the ladies to just agree to disagree at this point and to just stop. After that, Candace decides to check in on Nneka because the exchange had gotten pretty heated, which we had a very disapproving Dr. Wendy who kind of checked Candace for checking in on Nneka. In the confessional, you hear Candace say, well, with all that going on, I'm just not that girl to not check on somebody. Now, is she or isn't she? Depending on who the person is, I guess. But it was nice. I mean, the exchange was kind of brutal, and Dr. Wendy was just letting her have it. And to give you guys a little background on why I think, or why I have done my research and found that there is this disconnect and disapproval on Dr. Wendy from Nneka is there was not only from Nneka, but from her cousin-in-law, Lebe, situations where they have tried to utilize Dr. Wendy's names for their benefit. The cousin-in-law Lebe, in particular, that wanted to get a BBL. Apparently, she wanted to use Dr. Wendy's doctor, which, gotta say, can't say I blame sis, because Dr. Wendy is looking good. She looks great. She really does. So, kudos to her doctor. Apparently, this doctor is so busy that it would be a huge wait to get in. But it was noted that if you could name drop a client, particularly one, I guess, with some weight, that you could possibly get put on the schedule early, which was what was the intent by the cousin-in-law Lebe. She reached out to Dr. Wendy. Dr. Wendy posted those receipts on Instagram. Y'all can go over to her Instagram and find all of it. It's right there. Dr. Wendy did not reply, certain that she was quite annoyed. And rightfully so. I mean, who wants a clout chaser, a name dropper, someone that's trying to use you? You know, I get it. In the same regard, NECA had been in talks about trying to get on the show, kind of in the same scenario, a little with the name dropping, the well I know or know of. Then the thing with her husband, IK, and I may be mispronouncing his name, I apologize if I am, who professed to know Dr. Wendy's husband, Eddie, that they had gone to college at the same time. And we talked about last week, I mean, hey, these campuses are big. You may know faces, you know, but you don't know everybody that you literally go to college with. So I get it. All right, let's put a pin there. So the ladies wrap up the pool scene and they get ready to get themselves together for, I believe it is dinner time after that. Yes, the dinner scene. Well, guys, the dinner scene, I don't have a whole lot to comment on. Let's just say that the ladies bonded over some naughty talk. Yeah. Could have left that out. That was a little off-putting, but nonetheless, it seems like they were having fun at dinner, which was the point. And semi seemed as if they were coming together and bonding. However, it's always short-lived with these ladies, right? Always. And so they wrap up the dinner and Robyn actually invites all the ladies back to her suite. Shocking, right? Well, the ladies do go back to Robyn's suite because she's got that pimped out presidential suite. It is nice. If I ever go to Austin, I have to figure out where they stayed. Very nice. So the ladies come back. They kind of get together. Not a whole lot to unpack there. They're just kind of, you know, still drinking and commingling and talking. Giselle leaves early to go to sleep, as does Karen. And then the rest of them stay for a little bit and kind of chat. A little bit more chit chat on the NECA Dr. Wendy thing goes on. But nothing of significance. They end the night there with Candace, who was having a good time, asking Robyn if they can actually talk the next day, which Robyn does agree to. So then the next thing we see is the breakfast scene. They have a beautiful spread for breakfast, and the ladies come together to get their next day in Austin started. Ashley, again, she is the lead of the trip. And so as they are eating, she starts off with wanting to do an activity, which was an art activity on the women's private areas and how they visualize them, what it symbolizes to them. Watch out, who knows? I was like, ladies, all right, enough of that part, okay? It never happened though, guys. She had the easels up the whole nine. They were way more interested in delving into Robyn and why she just doesn't seem to care that her husband is in these streets, making her look crazy. So here we go again. The thing that I noticed, though, and I want to say is each and every time she seems to be confronted, you see two Robyns. You get to see the really defeated, deflective Robyn that just kind of sinks in and just kind of gives the, defeated look of, I just don't care, don't ask. Or you get the triggered Robyn that just goes clean off. And at that particular time, the ladies asked her, it was stated about, there was a DM from a woman that Robyn chose never to even read. I mean, the camera pans around the room and the women are just looking at her like, side-eye city. Her bestie tries to clean it up, of course. Good old Giselle. In a confessional, and says, well, there is a thing called trust, and when you have it, what's the need? With the preface being, it couldn't be me. And child, when I say it couldn't be me, it couldn't be me either, honey. Robyn goes on to say that, well, even if I wanted to read it, Juan is always cleaning his phone. He's really, really OCD about it. He's always, making sure he gets rid of messages and cleans his phone. Really? Wonder why. Cleans his phone, huh? Child, every woman in the suite was looking at her like, but and let's talk about that, ladies and gentlemen. When you have someone that you truly care about in your friend group or a family member, and you're experience them seemingly allowing things to be done to them that you don't agree with, don't understand, things that are blatant, particularly those that you love that have a cheating spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, that allow mistreatment or, to be made to look crazy in the streets. It is a hard pill to swallow. And believe me, I personally know that from my own experiences with loved ones. And I know that this is for the show, but I really think the ladies are going to have to back up off Robyn a little bit until she's ready. She fiercely defends Juan. If it's trust, fine. If she really thinks it's that solid, but usually where there's smoke, there's fire, guys. And it's been several things with Juan. The woman with the hotel, the pictures he was, that got leaked of him at a laundromat with a lady that he works with, a fellow coach. And there are others, the DM situation. It just, to me, is giving, you're wasting your time. But perhaps it's a marriage of convenience, a partnership where they're just going to raise their handsome little boys. And if that's the case, so be it. But Robyn Dixon, you need to stop deflecting, particularly on the other scenes, because you were so ruthless at Candace and others about what was going on in their lives. Karen, when Karen supposedly moved, y'all were fake delivering pizzas and you're in everybody else's business. When somebody asks you about yours, anywho, let's keep going with the show. So, since the art project did not work, Ashley decides that let's go on with the remainder of the day. And she has 2 excursions planned. Part of the group are going to go boot shopping, and part of the group are going to go to a distillery. And so the boot ladies include, sorry guys, these are a lot of shows. You got to keep your little notes so you don't forget the details, because I want to give you all of what happened. trying to not leave it out so that we can really discuss it. Because I'm going to wrap this up at the end, and then we're going to get on over to Married to Medicine. Lots to talk about on that. But the ladies that went over to the boot shop were Giselle, Ashley, Nneka, and Robyn. And the distillery girls were Dr. Wendy, Candace, Mia, and Karen. And so it went off without a hitch. Both particular parties had the opportunity to sip on some spirits, if you will. At the distillery, it seemed to be lost on Mia that when you go to a distillery, you don't get wine. You get whatever kind of liquor they're distilling there. I think it was, I can't remember whether it was bourbon or I don't remember the liquor, but particularly it was a distillery. So they make whatever liquor they make, and they don't offer wine, and Karen couldn't get her beer. And so Mia opted to continue sipping water, which was cool, whatever. The ladies that were at the boot shopping event decided to discuss further with Nneka a little bit, because Nneka was with the boot ladies, a little bit more about the situation with Dr. Wendy. But that was where she also initially talked to them about her dissatisfaction with her wedding. Apparently, Nneka and her husband have only been married for 1.5 years, so they're fairly newlyweds. They are newlyweds. And that she has plans to do a traditional Nigerian wedding in Nigeria soon. And she talked a little bit also about the fact that they are trying to get pregnant. And so over at the distillery, they also talked a little bit more about the Dr. Wendy and Nneka thing. The biggest takeaway, a black crow perched. And Karen particularly is scared of birds. And Dr. Wendy is as well. And so when the black crow perches, Mia makes the joke or comment that, Dr. Wendy, that's not your mom, is it? And, you know, that's when she was triggered to explain, hey, don't go there. She goes on to talk about that the shrine comment, even though is a thing that's in Nigerian culture where, again, I said it's akin to as if someone was putting roots on you and your family. Dr. Wendy explained that because they are practicing Catholics, that Catholicism also has shrines that are not in the same connotation that are a holier thing. And that she did not enjoy the fact that people were coming for her mother. That her mother apparently raised them as a single mother. Her and her siblings are very successful. And that her mother had made a lot of sacrifices for them. And, you know, she just was not here for them coming for her mother. And I fully support that. Because you better not come for mine either. At any rate, Wendy got kind of emotional, and I think all the ladies at the table finally got where she was coming from, the hurt she felt with that. And the fact that she even mentioned, which is what I stated last week, which I'm glad that she said, many times Nigerian Africans as a whole are portrayed as, you know, those that practice witchcraft, black magic, and all that. So throwing out there something like the shrine comment or accusation just stereotypes them in a negative way, and which is something that she's not here for, and which is why I did not like the storyline. And even the fact that the other ladies were jumping in, when you're jumping in ignorantly, and again, what's coming off on the show is portraying negative stereotypes. I wasn't here for that, and that's why I said I wasn't gonna further recap them, but I'm willing to continue to see how this season unfolds. The ladies wrap up their individual excursions and they come together to eat. And there is more discussions. More discussions about legal situations. So apparently Michael Darby has a lawsuit against Miss Candace for some things that she had stated about him. And particularly when everybody was coming for her husband. And then Robyn decides to ask Candace, as different ones were asking him, she was shutting them down concerning the lawsuit. Was there a list of things we can and can't talk about? And she was like, yeah, no, not today, but yeah, tomorrow we can be dense. Okay. And you may wonder, dense, what does she mean by that? Well, she meant that there's also a lawsuit against Juan concerning a Title IX infringement, where he's dismissed. He no longer has his coaching job. And that perhaps Robyn was a little too vocal about Juan's situation, whereas Candace is tight-lipped about their situation. And anytime you're involved in any kind of legal dispute, it's best to be tight-lipped. So I'm going to have to go with Candace on this one, guys. And yet again, here comes the master of deflector. She goes in. Now, Juan, the college standing by him, they're helping him. He never ever violated any Title IX violation. And, she's just to the point that there was the funniest confessional with Karen, who has on what appears to be like a pilgrim hat, but basically, she was trying to liken Robyn to a woman back in the day that just did what her husband said, and I'm standing by my husband no matter what. He's right, and I'm going to be his woman, and I'm standing. It was so funny. It actually was. So kudos, Karen. That was cute. You had me cackling a little bit. So pretty much the wrapping up the episode, guys, basically it wraps up there with the two of them kind of going at it about their individual legal situations, and we will see where it goes with their discussions next week. How do I feel about the season now? Still not their best. Certainly willing to hang in there a little bit. If you guys want me to continue to recap, that's fine. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're enjoying it, because I have others that I'm going to be talking about later in the week. There's so many more that are out there that, you can't talk about everything in one segment. And so I will be back on tomorrow night to recap with my co-host Bria, Love and Marriage Huntsville, and also Baddies East on Zeus. Yes, I know. Yeah, I watch Zeus too. When I said I love all things reality, guys, I really do. I even watch the ratchet stuff, okay? I give everybody a little something to chat about, right? I mean, there's a little something for everybody over here at Alleged Actually. So if you're interested, come back tomorrow. So we're going to chop it up on those too. But right now, we're going to move on over to Married to Medicine. Guys, I was waiting for this episode, and particularly because over the weekend, some things leaked out on IG. Ooh, child. Excuse me. So Miss Quad, she got it. I don't believe she got it no more, y'all. So it came out over the weekend through her interactions on some of her postings on Instagram, some of her followers, that she would be leaving after episode 7, that she would be asked to leave the group, in the most disrespectful way. And it didn't stop there. There were other exchanges with fans about, well, if you're not going to be on it, we're not going to watch any further. And she said, well, you have 2 more episodes and I'm out. They got rid of me, which really has the other ladies very unhappy. If you remember last week's episode, it ended off with the resurrection event that Phaedra led off at the Willie Watkins funeral home. That was supposed to be where Miss Quad was wheeled in a casket, and all the ladies were in attendance. all dressed in black, and Miss Quad was in white, and she comes out as if she's a phoenix rising for a rebirth, a resurrection, if you will. It was her opportunity to, what I believe Phaedra thought it would be her time to try to now plead with the ladies, start anew with them. The whole resurrection rebirth is restore their relationships and renew them, because apparently a lot of the relationships with the ladies are broken. It did not go well at all. And apparently with some edits, there were things that we didn't see that would let you understand why we get to where we get to in the episode last night. The exchange went terribly between Toya and Quad, and the other ladies were not pleased. So fast forward to last night. The ladies get together, Quad, Dr. Heavenly, Dr. Simone, and Dr. Jackie. They get together for a little snack and a little bite to discuss an upcoming trip. There's that trip again, guys. Know how I tell you, every franchise. Well, this trip is led by Toya. The ladies from Married to Med are going to Napa Valley. And the cool thing is they're going because Toya has a business event in Napa Valley. She is partnering with Kendall Jackson on her own wine and wine club, an attempt for her to grow her brand. That's really awesome. I've heard from the ladies on interviews and on IGs that the wine's really good. So go to her bio, shout out to Toya if you want to check it out. So anyway, the ladies get together and rehash the resurrection event. All four of them are not happy with Miss Quad. And Toya asked them, each one, if they really want Quad to go on the trip. The consensus seems that not really, but Toya's at the point where she's going to invite Quad. But she's asking the ladies to, I guess, to form some sort of solidarity in the fact of that during the trip, they will be honest and confront Quad with the fact that Quad has not been accountable for her own part in the reasons that these friendships are no longer and are severed. They agree, and everyone prepares to get ready to go to Napa Valley. And so the first group of ladies that get there is everyone, to include Dr. Ashley, which you haven't heard much from her yet, but they do say later in the season you'll get a chance to get to know her. She is also a dentist, like Dr. Heavenly. Don't believe she's practicing right now because her husband also is a doctor, but she is a dentist. And they say that she has a lot to offer the show. We have yet to see it. We did get to see her at the event last Sunday at the resurrection event, but she really didn't say anything. And so she's also with the ladies on the Napa trip. And so Toya, Dr. Jackie, Dr. Simone, Dr. Heavenly, as well as Dr. Ashley arrive in Napa Valley. Coming up at the rear would be Phaedra and Miss Quad. And so they're staying at the Vineyard, which is beautiful, by the way. Toya and Jackie get the best, or Toya and Dr. Simone get the best rooms this time. So they have the beautiful suites. They divvy up the rooms, and then Toya realizes she did not book a room for Quad. So, and she states there's a reason for that. And I'm going to go into some of the afterthoughts after I finish kind of recapping up what the episode was about, and then kind of go back and tie in some things that I found out from some of the stuff that I've witnessed and watched on Instagram Live. If you guys will bear with me, okay? So, she does not have a room for Quad, and she asked all the ladies would they be willing to room with her. It's all a resounding no. to include Phaedra, even though she's coming a little later. Toya remarks that Phaedra, who was supposed to actually come with Quad, changed her flight on purpose. When they initially call Phaedra to ask, she says that nope, it's because my son had a birthday party and, my schedule with that, so I had to change my flight. Maybe, maybe not. But Phaedra does end up coming alone. She flies alone up. And then after that comes Miss Clyde. And so the big thing, and I am going to not go into every scene this time because I want to get down to the meat of what's going on with Married to Medicine and maybe even the future of it. So when Quad does arrive much later, she comes in and there's clear tension with the ladies when she gets there. They're in the suite, one of the suites. And Toya's honest and says, I didn't get you a room. And she says, because quite frankly, she wasn't even sure that Quad was coming. And we're going to get into that too. Quad states, well, look, honey, I got my own money. I can go to get a room elsewhere. And she states that a couple different times. But Dr. Ashley had actually agreed to allow her to room with her. So Toya had she said, no, we worked this out. So she's giving her a room key. And, Quad makes a joke. Are you going to put me in a basement? Where am I going? It's whatever. So to make a long episode shorter, Toya has a really nice dinner prepared for them out there in the vineyard that night. And so when asked what was the dress code, it was simply beautiful. And they all did look just that. They looked beautiful. So everyone got ready and prepared to show up for dinner. They all showed up. And last two to arrive at the table was Phaedra and then Quad. Okay. So they're all at the table. And it starts. Quad opens up with making sure to tell Toya that she's very proud of her, no matter what, she's very proud of her accomplishments and that she wanted to be there to support her. And Dr. Simone, as she promised Toya she would, hops in there and proceeds to ask her, if that were the case, why had she not reached out to any of them? Why had she ghosted them? She pretty much didn't treat any of them as if they were friends, to include Dr. Heavenly. And I forgot to admit, guys, Sweet Tea was at the event as well. I left her out, but she was there and she came with the initial group that got there on time. So my bad, Sweet Tea. She was there also. And her and Dr. Heavenly also made amends, but she just said that she would no longer confide in her no more. And she meant that thing. Anywho, the scene goes where the ladies are confronting her about the fact that she's been very dismissive of them, that whenever she seems to connect herself to someone else, hence Phaedra, or other, when she was with Sister Circle, she kind of distanced herself from the Married to Med group, didn't consider them friends, attached herself with those ladies. And then when she's had the opportunities to hang out with other Bravo Labs from housewife franchises and whatever, she has done so. And she's basically ghosted the other ladies who in fact do have friendships, who in fact do hang out outside of taping. Whereas when they say Quad will only be in conversation with them or be in connection with them while they're actually taping. And that's become a problem for them. And I can truly understand that, particularly when Quad has been giving off victim. And Simone and Toya have called her out on that. I don't know about you guys. I don't like that either. That's one of the things I could not stand about Quad. And I went way back to the times when she had the beef between her and Mariah Huck. She just doesn't seem to know how to take accountability for her part in things. And when you're in friendships, relationships, whatever, I mean, you know, they even said sisters and friends, you know, you're going to get it wrong sometimes. You may say something that offends someone, you know. Apologies can go out, and of course forgiveness can be given, but when the other person truly doesn't understand or have any knowledge to the fact that they've done anything wrong, how do those relationships really repair? It's hard to say that they do. And so it's stated that Phaedra was supposed to bring her and had told the ladies that she was not. After the way things went down at the resurrection event, Phaedra did not want to bring Quad to Toya's event because of how bad it went between her, Quad, and Toya. And this being Toya's big thing, you know, no one wanted to bring the drama to her. Quad heard that, and you could see the hurt in her face. I felt bad. It was giving a little bit of ambush, but I think it was also giving frustration on the ladies' parts. Quad, you know, lights up for the cameras. Miss Quad, hey girl. When if that's in fact fake, I get why she didn't get met with the warmest of welcomes, guys. Okay. It is a job, but these women have built real relationships over the years, that they have been castmates and worked together. And they've known each other, some of them anyway, aside from the show. And that would be the whole point of the show. And so I say that to say that we end still at the dinner. Dr. Heavenly lets Quad know how she feels used by her. How, if you remember the scene where, and that was last week when Phaedra and Dr. Heavenly had come to Quad's house, and, you know, Heavenly had voiced how she felt about the fact that, you know, you got Phaedra and you just kind of blew me off, and, you know, where are we? And she did it in a semi-joking manner, but that was a real issue for her. And the point was, again, when Quad finds herself attached to other folks that she feels like maybe can do more for, or I don't know, but she just seems to throw these ladies away, okay? And they're tired of it. And so that leads me to the drama that has ensued on social media. So each Sunday night, one of the ladies will go live on Instagram and watch the show together. They watch it as we watch it and then discuss it. And it was Toya, Dr. Heavenly, Phaedra, Dr. Simone, and Dr. Jackie would tap in and out. So Dr. Jackie and Dr. Simone, because you can only have 4 on IG Live at one time. That was news to me, so I learned something too, guys. It was so funny watching them get it together. I'm like, you know what? Now I don't feel so bad, because, child, I'll be struggling sometimes, for real. But the consistency that I got, and I had already seen on social media how Quad has been putting the narrative out that these ladies got together and decided to kind of like vote her off the island, to push her out the group. And they also did so in a very disrespectful way. Number one, what I took away from the Instagram Live was that they don't have that power, which I've heard that from other groups about other, people getting booted off of shows or not being returned, that it has more to do with them, the individual that gets released, than the group. The group does not have that kind of power. And it was stated, and you could really see the frustration, and you could tell that they were kind of trying to temper their tongues, because there's some things that Contractually, they are not allowed to say. But what I gathered from the conversation from the ladies is, number one, that Quad was trying to negotiate her contract for more money, particularly because of the new storyline with bringing Dr. Gregory back and his new wife, Sweet Tea or Letitia, and that she was unsuccessful in doing so. So if you remember, the season starts where you don't see Quad until Sweet Tea's bachelorette party, her pampering party that was hosted by Toya. That was her first appearance. They say it was edited out, but that Quad has stated many times when they said, well, why are you here? Particularly when they were in Napa Valley. And she was like, because I want my check. So to the ladies, it seems disingenuous that she really wants to repair friendships, that she was there for the money, and that it's just giving fake. And so the fact that apparently Dr. Heavenly had not seen some of the social media things that she was putting out there, Toya alerted her to it, and it really seemed to hurt Dr. Heavenly's feelings, because I don't know if you guys watched Dr. Heavenly. She comes on with Carlos King, and they also do a Married to Medicine recap. She has been an advocate for Quad. She really has. She, despite the fact that it's her that they say has brought the storyline to the show where Dr. Gregory and Sweet Tea joined Married to Medicine, which essentially turned Quad off. But again, Dr. Heavenly disputes that narrative, because at the time they weren't even speaking. They hadn't spoken since the reunion, to be quite frankly honest. So it wasn't as if Dr. Heavenly had some immense of loyalty to someone that basically didn't return their texts or phone calls. And I get it, sis. I really get it. So what we're going to do is just keep watching. I want to see, it's leading up to when she gets dismissed off the show. I'm going to be continually checking out those Instagram posts and those lives and letting you guys know what's going on. I hate to see Quad go in that way, but it just, after watching the ladies come together and really discuss it and the way things go, I was a little legit turned off a little bit by the way Quad has been acting. It's giving victim when it's showing she may have done this to herself. So guys, keep tuning in, please. I guess I just love this so much. I love the fact that you guys are actually tuning in and checking it out. I am so flattered, and I thank each and every one of you for every like, for every subscribe, and for every share. Please keep coming back. We will do a recap tomorrow, like I said, on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and on Baddies East. Me and Bria will be on tomorrow. We won't hold you long. Just a quick little recap on those. Then I come back on Thursday. We both come back to recap Married at First Sight. And as you know, Saturdays are pop culture days, where we're going to come back and give you all that pop culture, what's going out there in those streets in the pop world. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I'm Sherry with Alleged Actually. Y'all just keep coming back. I'm going to keep giving it to you. I'm going to keep finding out more and more and giving you that real tea. So thank you guys again. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you again. Alleged Actually, subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want us to talk about. If there's shows I'm not recapping that you want to see, let me know. I'll watch it all. I'll bring it for you. Thanks, guys. Come back tomorrow. See you then.